You know what's funny about floating in space? The absolute silence. Well, except for my own breathing, which is getting increasingly annoying, considering I've got about, let me check. Oh, fantastic. 47 minutes of oxygen left. Just enough time to contemplate all my life choices that led to this particularly stellar moment. Commander Rex Thorne, at your service, currently serving as space debris courtesy of our new alien friends aboard the diplomatic station Harmonious Unity. Real creative with that name, weren't they? The massive structure looms about 2 kilometers away, its crystalline spires and bioorganic architecture gleaming under the light of the binary stars. Beautiful, if you ignore the fact that they just tried to murder me. Suit status report, I wheeze, trying not to laugh at the ridiculousness of my situation. The display flickers. Another wonderful addition to my growing list of problems. Suit systems critical. Oxygen 46 minutes remaining. Propulsion 12% functionality to communication offline. Temperature regulation failing and dignity completely absent. Okay, I added that last one myself. The suit's AI isn't quite that sarcastic, though right now I kind of wish it was. At least then I'd have someone to appreciate my gallows humor. The supposedly inoperable maintenance port on my suit's left arm begs to differ with the alien's assumption that I'd die quickly. They really should have checked my service record before trying to space me. 20 years of EVA maintenance experience means I know every trick in the book, and quite a few that aren't in any book at all. I managed to redirect power from my suit's non-essential systems, who needs an atmospheric analyzer when you're already in space, bringing my propulsion system up to a whopping 15% functionality. It's not much, but it's the difference between dying while staring at that smug station and dying while trying to do something about it. Well, I mutter to myself as I start the painfully slow journey back toward the station. At least the view is nice. The binary stars cast an ethereal purple and orange glow across the station's hull, making it look like some cosmic jewelry piece. Too bad I'm about to turn it into a cosmic crime scene. The irony isn't lost on me that they chose to space the one human who specialized in external station repair and maintenance. In their defense, they probably didn't expect much from a species that had only achieved FTL travel 50 years ago. We're practically infants in their eyes, cute, harmless, and disposable. As I drift closer, I can see the maintenance airlock they thought was sealed. Amateur hour. These supposedly superior beings never bothered to learn about their own station's emergency systems. They just copied the technology from another species and called it a day. Typical. You know, I say to no one in particular, my breath fogging up my cracked helmet. I really should thank them. I've been wanting to redecorate that station since I first saw its pretentious architecture. Nothing says interior design update quite like systematic revenge. The safety light near the maintenance airlock blinks green, visible only to someone who knows exactly where to look. My lips curl into what probably looks like a rather unsettling grin given my current situation. 42 minutes of oxygen remaining. More than enough time to teach these aliens why humans have survived everything our planet has thrown at us. They thought they were being merciful by giving me a quick death in space, and their mistake wasn't trying to kill me, their mistake was giving me a chance to prove them wrong. Time to show them what happens when you leave an engineer to die next to their own equipment. I've got a station full of aliens about to learn a very important lesson about human resourcefulness, and I plan to be a thoroughly dedicated teacher. Looking back, I should have known something was off when the Centauri delegation insisted on having the diplomatic meeting aboard their station. To honor us with their superior accommodations, they'd said. The slight twitch in Ambassador Raoul's secondary breathing vents should have been my first clue. The past 6 hours replay in my mind as I work on the airlock's manual override. Might as well review how I got into this mess while I'm trying to get out of it. They called themselves the Centauri Concordate, a species that had achieved spaceflight while humans were still figuring out which end of a spear was the pointy one. Tall, elegant creatures with iridescent skin and multiple breathing vents along their elongated necks. They moved like liquid mercury and spoke with musical overtones that made every sentence sound like poetry. Too bad their personalities didn't match their appearance. Commander Thorne, Ambassador Raoul had greeted me, all 4 of his arms performing their species' formal greeting gesture. We are most intrigued by your presence. Rarely do humans send their technical staff to diplomatic functions. I'd been there as the station expert, obviously, humanity's first diplomatic exchange with the Centauri, meant we needed someone who could understand their technology. 20 years of working on every type of space station in human space made me the logical choice. The first 3 hours had gone smoothly enough. We toured their magnificent station, while they casually mentioned how each system was light years ahead of human technology. I nodded, smiled, and quietly noted at least 30 critical design flaws in their life support systems alone. "Your species shows remarkable adaptability," Raal had commented during the formal dinner. The way he said adaptability made it sound like a communicable disease, to achieve spaceflight so quickly, despite your obvious limitations. That's when Chief Engineer Vex dropped the facade. "It's quite remarkable indeed, almost as if they had help." His upper breathing vents constricted, their equivalent of a sneer. One might wonder about the legitimacy of human technological advancement. I remember taking a slow sip of their ceremonial drink, tastes like fermented battery acid by the way, before responding. "That's an interesting theory. Almost as interesting as the fact that your tertiary life support systems are running on outdated Proxian code, rather unusual for such an advanced species." The temperature in the room dropped faster than a hull breach. I just pointed out that they'd stolen technology from another alien species, the Proxians, and hadn't even bothered to update it. Raal's skin shifted from iridescent blue to a dark purple. "Commander Thorne, you have an unusually detailed knowledge of our systems." "I'm unusually good at my job," I'd replied, already knowing where this was going. My hand slowly moved to the emergency beacon in my pocket, the one they thought was just a ceremonial pin. Indeed, Vex's secondary arms twitched toward what I assumed was a weapon. "Tell me, Commander, how many of our systems have you analyzed during your tour?" "Enough to know that your artificial gravity relies on quantum fluctuation instead of rotation, your atmospheric processors are running at 63% efficiency, and your maintenance airlocks still use manual overrides. Pretty standard stuff for anyone who works on stations." That's when everything went sideways, quite literally, as they activated a localized gravity fluctuation that sent me flying across the room. "We cannot risk human interference," Raal had declared while security drones surrounded me. "Your species is too dangerous, too unpredictable. This diplomatic mission was merely to assess your threat level. You have proven our concerns valid." They'd marched me to an airlock, not the maintenance one, thankfully. Amateur mistake. While they were monologuing about human inferiority and the greater good of the galaxy, I was busy. The advantage of wearing a supposedly primitive human EVA suit. No one bothers to check it thoroughly. They never found the modified toolkit in my leg compartment or noticed me activating the suit's emergency protocols. "A quick death is more than your kind deserves," were Raal's last words to me before they hit the purge button. The blast of decompression had cracked my helmet, but the emergency sealant had deployed instantly, a feature I'd added myself after one too many close calls on repair jobs. The suit's catastrophic failure alert had broadcasted exactly what they expected to see, a doomed human tumbling into space. They never even bothered to watch me die. Now floating here with my hands deep in their airlock circuits, I can't help but appreciate the irony. They were right about one thing: humans are dangerous. But not because we're primitive or unpredictable. We're dangerous because we pay attention, we learn, we adapt. And right now, this particular human is about to give them an educational experience they'll never forget. That is, assuming any of them survive long enough to learn from it. The thing about maintenance systems is that they're universal. Doesn't matter if you're working on a human mining station or a fancy alien diplomatic hub, airlocks need to be serviceable, and emergency protocols need to be foolproof. Engineers across the galaxy apparently share one trait: we're lazy enough to build backdoors into everything. My damaged helmet actually works in my favor. The cracked faceplate means I can get close enough to see the microscopic maintenance panel without the suit's protective coating getting in the way. Floating upside down relative to the airlock, though really who's keeping track of up and down in space, I pull out my modified toolkit. "Now then," I mutter, stripping the cover off the panel, "let's see if that photographic memory is worth all those years of training." My fingers dance across the circuits, rerouting power from the emergency systems. The Centauri might have fancy quantum computers running most of their station, but they still use basic electronic circuits for critical systems. Can't have a computer glitch leaving you locked out in space after all. A spark jumps between two connectors, and I grin. Amateur hour security systems. They didn't even change the default maintenance codes. The airlock's internal mechanism whirs to life. I quickly disconnect my jury-rigged bypass before the system can register the unauthorized access. The outer door slides open with a soft hiss, and I pull myself inside just as my suit's oxygen meter hits 30 minutes. Inside the airlock, I take a moment to appreciate the Centauri's over-engineering. 3 separate atmospheric processing units for one small chamber. Talk about overkill. But their paranoia is about to work in my favor. I plug my suit's damaged systems into the airlock's diagnostic port, another universal constant. Emergency systems are designed to interface with any potential rescue equipment. The airlock's displays light up with warning messages about my suit's condition, exactly as planned. Emergency protocols engaged, the station's AI announces in its melodic voice. Detected critical suit failure, initiating emergency preservation procedures. Perfect. The AI doesn't recognize me as the human they just tried to murder. It just sees damaged equipment requiring emergency protocols. These systems are designed to be autonomous, operating independently of central control. Another safety feature I'm about to thoroughly abuse. The inner door remains sealed while the chamber runs through its emergency routines. I use this time to download the station's maintenance schematics directly to my suit's computer. Not the official ones they show to visitors, the real ones, the ones that emergency systems use. Repressurization complete, atmosphere optimal, warning, suit integrity compromised, recommend immediate medical attention. I remove my damaged helmet, taking my first breath of station air. The Centauri's preferred atmosphere mix is a bit heavy on the nitrogen, but it's breathable. More importantly, I'm now officially inside their precious station, logged as an emergency rescue case. Time to start repaying their hospitality. The inner door slides open, revealing an empty maintenance corridor. Of course it's empty. No one bothers to monitor these sections. I check the schematic I've downloaded. 3 junctions ahead, there's an environmental control node. From there, I can access the secondary life support systems. Thank you for your concern, I tell the AI as I step through the doorway. I think I'll take that medical attention. In fact, I'm about to make sure the entire station gets a thorough checkup. I pause at the first junction, considering my options. The Centauri are about to learn why you should always respect your maintenance staff. We know where all the bodies are buried, or in this case, where all the critical systems are hidden. And I've got some long overdue maintenance to perform. Environmental Control Node 47B looks exactly like every other maintenance hub I've worked on. A nest of cables, pipes, and control interfaces that would give most people a headache. To me, it's a beautiful sight, especially since the Centauri never bothered to restrict access to their auxiliary systems. Let's start with something subtle, I whisper, plugging my toolkit into the main interface. The display lights up with system diagnostics. Computer, run maintenance protocol Theta 9, authorization, emergency override. The AI responds instantly. Warning, maintenance protocol will disrupt normal operations. Confirm authorization. Confirmed. Begin systematic diagnostic of all connected systems. My first gift to the Centauri, every door in the residential section will now randomly recalibrate its pressure seals. Not enough to cause decompression, just enough to make that annoying hiss that drives you crazy when you're trying to sleep. The master control panel shows me everything. Life support, gravity controls, internal sensors, communication systems. They're all running through this node, waiting for someone who knows what they're doing to take control. Now, let's check the atmosphere processors. My fingers dance across the interface. Computer, detect any anomalies in the atmospheric mix? Negative, all systems functioning within normal parameters. Really, because I'm reading a 0.3 variance in the nitrogen-oxygen ratio. Better adjust it, gradually of course. Safety first. Within hours, the entire station will feel like they're at high altitude. Nothing dangerous, just enough to make them lightheaded and irritable. Throw in some subtle temperature fluctuations, and nobody's going to be thinking clearly. I access the gravity controls next. The Centauri are so proud of their quantum gravity system. Be a shame if someone introduced a random variance sequence. One section of the station at 1.1 G, another at 0.9 G. Small enough changes that they won't notice immediately, but their bodies will feel it. Computer, run a level 2 diagnostic on all communication systems. Processing. Warning, diagnostic requires temporary shutdown of non-essential communications. Proceed. The station's internal communications go dark for exactly 47 seconds. When they come back online, every third message will be delayed by 2 seconds. Good luck coordinating a response to emergency situations with that little twist in place. I move deeper into the system, planting my traps. Maintenance drones reprogrammed to ignore certain atmospheric alerts, security cameras with subtle glitches in their motion tracking, emergency lighting that responds a half-second too slowly. Commander Raal to engineering, I hear through the station's comm system. We're detecting unusual system behavior. Chief Engineer Vex's response comes through with my program delay. Running diagnostics now, Commander. Initial results show nothing unusual. Of course they don't. I've already modified their diagnostic protocols. They're looking at what I want them to see. Time to escalate. I access the environmental controls for the main diplomatic chamber, where they tried to kill me. With a few keystrokes, I program the room's atmosphere to slowly fill with an irritant. Nothing toxic, just the Centauri equivalent of pollen. Let them deal with their version of hay fever during their next smug meeting. Computer, initiate maintenance protocol Omega-6 for all primary corridors. Warning, protocol Omega-6 will affect staff movement patterns. Override, authorization, emergency maintenance. Every major corridor will now have one section that's slightly colder than the rest. Combined with the atmospheric changes, it'll create occasional patches of condensation on the floors. Not enough to be dangerous, just enough to make them wonder why their pristine station is suddenly developing problems. I check my suit's chronometer, 2 hours since I broke in, and I've already turned their perfect station into a psychological torture chamber. But I'm not done yet. The main computer core is next. I don't need to hack it, I just need to make it doubt itself. A few tweaks to the sensor calibrations, and every system check will show slightly different results. They'll waste hours trying to figure out why nothing matches. Alert, the computer announces station-wide, detecting minor anomalies in multiple systems. Technical teams, please report to your designated areas. Perfect, they'll spread their teams thin, checking every system, finding nothing obviously wrong but unable to shake the feeling that something's not right. I pull up the station's internal security feeds, watching the Centauri rushing around, their skin colors shifting with stress and confusion. Engineers argue over diagnostic results that don't make sense. Medical staff report an increase in complaints about headaches and disorientation. Security teams patrol corridors where the sensors swear they detected movement. Computer, what's the status of the station's backup systems? All backup systems functional and ready. Excellent. Flag them all for routine maintenance, authorization, emergency protocol. Now they can't even switch to their backups without triggering a full diagnostic cycle. They're trapped in the systems I control. Commander Raal appears on one of the feeds, his skin a mottled pattern of stress colors. This is impossible, he hisses to his staff. How can everything be malfunctioning yet showing normal readings? I grin at the screen. It's not impossible, Commander, it's engineering. One final touch, I program the station's ambient lighting to decrease by 1% every hour. In 24 hours, no one will be able to tell if it's actually darker or if they're imagining it. Time to move to Phase 2. I've got a station full of increasingly paranoid aliens who can't trust their own systems. Now I just need to give them something real to worry about. The Centauri are about to learn why humans love ghost stories so much. And I plan to give them plenty of reasons to believe in things that go bump in the night. Ambassador Raal's chief of security was the first to go. He made the mistake of using maintenance shaft 23C to bypass the malfunctioning main corridors. The official logs will show a tragic accident, a simple atmospheric recycling malfunction. Who could have known the shaft would suddenly repressurize with pure nitrogen? From my position in the maintenance hub, I watch the chaos unfold through security feeds. The Centauri are learning that their beautiful station has teeth, sharp ones. Alert, the computer announces, its melodic voice echoing through the corridors. Security Chief Mex found unresponsive in maintenance shaft 23C. Medical team en route. They won't find anything suspicious, just like they won't find anything suspicious about the cargo bay's gravity suddenly inverting when 3 of their engineers investigate the power fluctuations. The official logs will show they entered an area marked for maintenance. Their own protocols state that maintenance areas are entered at one's own risk. I tap into their communication channels, listening to growing panic disguised as professional concern. Commander, a medical officer reports, we're seeing a pattern of accidents. This can't be coincidence. Ral's voice crackles back. The human couldn't have survived. Our sensors confirmed suit failure. Then explain why maintenance systems are activating without authorization. I switch off their conversation and check my trap network. The beauty of a station this size is that there are hundreds of ways to make someone disappear. The recycling systems need cleaning? What a shame about that technician getting trapped in the purge cycle. Plasma conduits require inspection. Terrible accident, that radiation leak. Should have worn better protection. 4 hours into my hunt and they're already jumping at shadows. I've turned their own arrogance against them. None of them bothered to learn the maintenance systems well enough to understand what's happening. They just copied the technology and assumed they knew how it worked. Time to escalate. I access the station's atmospheric controls again, this time targeting specific sections. A little extra oxygen here, a touch less carbon dioxide there. Nothing lethal, just enough to make them paranoid, aggressive, prone to mistakes. Computer, initiate maintenance protocol Gamma 7 in Section 12. Warning, protocol will affect environmental controls. Override, emergency authorization. The lights in Section 12 flicker and die. Backup power kicks in, bathing the corridors in red emergency lighting. Through the security feeds, I watch 3 Centauri security officers move in to investigate. Their skin colors shift rapidly, their version of fear response. I wait until they reach the central junction, then trigger the emergency bulkheads. The security team splits up exactly as planned. Divide and conquer, the oldest trick in the book. The first officer walks right into my trap. A malfunction in the environmental seals creates a pressure difference just strong enough to slam him into a wall. He'll live, but he won't be reporting for duty anytime soon. The second one gets creative, trying to access a maintenance terminal to bypass the bulkheads. Points for initiative, but minus several thousand for forgetting about system security protocols. One electrical surge later and he's taking an involuntary nap. The third one shows genuine promise. She actually recognizes the pattern of accidents and tries to warn Central Command. Unfortunately, the communication system is still suffering from those random delays I programmed. Her warning arrives 30 seconds too late to prevent the atmosphere processors from flooding her section with sedative gas. Through it all, I maintain my presence in the system, a ghost in their perfect machine. Every system failure is logged as a routine malfunction. Every accident has a perfectly reasonable explanation. The beauty of it is, they're doing half my work for me, their own paranoia making them see threats in every shadow. Commander, I hear Vex report, his musical voice cracking with stress. We've lost contact with Engineering Team 6. They were investigating the power fluctuations in the lower levels. Find them, Ral's voice has lost its poetic quality, and get these systems under control. We're trying, but nothing makes sense. The diagnostics show everything is normal, but we've got critical failures throughout the station. It's like the station itself is hunting us. You have no idea, I think, watching their futile efforts through the security feeds. The station isn't hunting you. I am. The station is just my weapon of choice. 10 hours after my death, the mighty Centauri Concordate's diplomatic station is in chaos. Emergency teams running from crisis to crisis. Medical bay overwhelmed with injuries from accidents. Security forces jumping at every shadow, shooting at maintenance drones that appear in unexpected places. Best of all, they still haven't figured out how I'm doing it. They're too proud to admit that a primitive human could understand their systems better than they do. Their superiority complex has become their biggest weakness. I check my list of targets. The security chief is gone. Half the engineering team is in medical bay. Time to move up the chain of command. Chief Engineer Vex's personal quarters show an unusual power fluctuation in the atmospheric processors. Nothing dangerous, just enough to trigger an automated maintenance check. And if someone happens to be waiting in the maintenance shaft when he investigates, well, accidents happen, especially on a station where everything seems to be malfunctioning. Computer, I command, begin power fluctuation diagnostic in residential section 3. Acknowledged, warning, diagnostic may cause system instability. I smile at the understatement. Proceed with diagnostic. Priority level, immediate. Time to teach Chief Engineer Vex why humans have a saying, never underestimate someone with nothing left to lose. Commander Ral's private chamber was exactly where I expected it to be. at the heart of the station, surrounded by what used to be the most sophisticated security systems in this sector. Used to be, until I turned them into elaborate toys. Computer, seal all access points to command level, Raoul's voice echoes through the corridors. Override all maintenance protocols. Unable to comply, the AI responds. Emergency maintenance in progress. I step out of the maintenance shaft into his chamber, toolkit in hand. Raoul spins around, his iridescent skin cycling through patterns of shock and rage. Impossible, he hisses through his breathing vents. You died. Our sensors confirmed it. Fun fact about humans, I say, casually leaning against a control panel. We're really good at not dying when we're supposed to. Like cockroaches, I think you called us. Resilient little pests. His secondary arms reach for the emergency controls. I don't bother stopping him. The look on his face when nothing responds is worth it. Looking for these? I wave my toolkit. I've spent the last 12 hours reprogramming every system on this station. Did you know your maintenance protocols had backdoors? Of course you didn't. You just copied the technology without understanding it. The others, he starts, are busy dealing with various emergencies throughout the station. Chief Engineer Vex had an unfortunate accident with the plasma conduits. Turns out he didn't understand them as well as he claimed. Raoul's skin turns almost black with rage. You primitives, you dare— We dare? I cut him off, pushing away from the panel. You tried to murder a human diplomat. Did you really think there wouldn't be consequences? We are the Centauri Concordat. We were crossing the stars when your species was— When we were nothing, I laugh. That's your problem. You saw our short history and assumed it meant weakness. Did you ever wonder how we advanced so quickly? It's because we learn, we adapt, we take things apart to see how they work. I tap a command into my toolkit. Throughout the station, alarms begin to blare. Right now, your perfect station is broadcasting a distress signal. In about an hour, a human rescue fleet will arrive. They'll find a station in chaos, with logs showing multiple catastrophic system failures. They'll find evidence of your attempted murder of a human diplomat, and they'll find you. Raoul's breathing vents constrict. You'll never leave this chamber alive. Actually, I smile, I think I will, because I've spent 12 hours turning this station into a death trap, and I'm the only one who knows how to navigate it safely. The real question is, will you? I key in another command. The chamber's atmospheric processors begin to hum. You have a choice, Commander. Surrender and face justice for your actions, or— I gesture to the increasingly unstable readings on his monitors. Try your luck with the station's systems, the same systems you never bothered to truly understand. He lunges for me, all four arms extended. I sidestep, letting him crash into the control panel. Wrong choice. The chamber's gravity inverts, then normalizes, then inverts again. Raoul slams into the ceiling, then the floor, his musical voice turned into a screech of panic. Welcome to your new reality, Commander. Every system you relied on, every piece of technology you stole and never understood, is now your enemy, just like I was supposed to be. I walk toward the maintenance shaft, leaving him floating in the chaotic gravity field. Computer, I command, initiate final protocol, authorization, human override. Acknowledged, the AI responds, beginning station-wide shutdown. I look back at Raoul one last time. Consider this a lesson in human nature, Commander. We're not primitive, we're patient, and we're very, very good at turning your weapons against you. The last thing I see before entering the maintenance shaft is Raoul's face twisted in the realization that his perfect station, his symbol of Centauri superiority, has become his prison. And I'm the only one with the key. Official diplomatic report, incident at Centauri Station Harmonious Unity, filed by Commander Rex Thorne. Status, salvage claim pending and 2 United Earth Fleet Command. After careful inspection, the diplomatic station Harmonious Unity experienced multiple catastrophic system failures, resulting in numerous casualties among the Centauri crew. Investigation reveals poor maintenance practices and critical misunderstanding of core systems. As ranking human officer present during the incident, I hereby claim salvage rights under Space Maritime Law, Section 47B. Addendum: recovered station logs indicate attempted murder of human diplomatic personnel. Relevant data packets have been forwarded to Earth Intelligence. P.S. to the Centauri High Council. Next time you try to space someone, make sure they're not a maintenance engineer. We tend to take workplace safety violations personally. Excerpt from First Contact Protocols, Updated Edition 2175. The Centauri incident stands as a watershed moment in human-alien relations. Following the event, 3 previously hostile species requested diplomatic negotiations. The recovered station, now designated Human Ingenuity, serves as Earth's premier diplomatic hub. Notable design changes include fully transparent maintenance protocols and mandatory engineering exchange programs. Commander Thorne declined all medals and honors, requesting only a small plaque be installed in the station's main hall. It reads, "To the Centauri Concordat, thanks for the station. We fixed the bugs in your system. Sincerely, the primitive ones."